Hi guys, welcome to the Budapest Speed Shop. This time I'm coming at you from Hungary again, and here's this beautiful 1966 1500 or Fiat 1500, which we're gonna work on today. I have other videos from before where I was trying to work out some kinks in it. So today we're gonna concentrate on the rear axle, and I found a new differential for it, which we're gonna install at my friend's garage. I live in Kentucky and I have a bunch of cars and buses there. And I bought this car so I can take it on road trips in Europe. So in order to do that, I want to have it mechanically sound, and this is why I'm fixing this up right now. We are in my friend's garage, and here's this box what came from Germany, and he was waiting for me since 1970 on a Fiat dealership's shelf for me to buy it and install it in my car. So this is a complete factory rebuilt rear differential. Well, I'm gonna need two hands for that. I'm gonna get it out and open it up. All right, so here it is, a factory rebuilt, never been used Fiat rear differential. So the problem was on my car that this nut got loose, and when this nut got loose, there is a spacer, a crush spacer, and that crush spacer is a one time. Basically, you crush it once, and then you set up the distance between the two bearings to hold this shaft, and after that it's all gone. So basically the setting is all gone. So you're supposed to change that. I didn't have it, didn't want to take it apart, so I just basically tightened up on that nut somewhat, and then I left it there, and then I found this part. So I'm really happy with it. So there are several settings on this what needs to be done. So one is that you can move this thing left and right, and you can move this shaft, which has a little gear at the end, with spacers. You gotta have spacers. And then basically with moving this nut on this side and the other side, you can move this wheel left and right. And when you did that, you can set up the correct pattern where the two gears touching each other. The way you can see the correct pattern is by spraying it with some paint. You can see the remains of it. And then when you turn it, it will leave you a mark. And that mark is supposed to be just so in the manual is showing you which way you need to move it if the mark is incorrect. But assuming this mark is totally correct because this was a factory rebuilt part. So and there's the sticker on the front, catalog number. I don't know what else can I see, type. So anyhow, this is it. It's really important what kind of oil you use in these. So I got a special classic car oil, what I'm gonna put in it. Here's the oil what I found. It's a British supplier, and they have actually a store here. It's called the classic differential, and the most important part is the end, the GL5. That's what this rear differential really needs. Also, I got some Rock Auto parts here, and I brought it with me, and it's actually a pumpable shock absorber for the back for this car. So if you take it from road trips, the rear of the car will not gonna sit. I'm gonna be able to rise it once I put a whole bunch of people in it and a whole bunch of suitcases in the back. Parked the car in the garage, and here's my friend Jolt. And then now we're gonna lift it up and jack it up, put some jack stands underneath. It's most likely gonna be some wooden blocks, and then we're gonna start taking the rear wheels off of it. Got it on jack stands. Then we're gonna take the lug bolts out, and then the wheel off, and then we can get a closer look. So now that the wheel is off, I'm gonna remove this little pin and then also this little bolt, and then we're gonna be able to remove the drum. Now the drum is off, we can access the 4 nuts which will hold the brake plate to the rear axle, and it's also holding this whole thing in position. So there are larger holes which I can access the nut, which actually at the very far back, and I can get those 4 nuts off, and then we can get a sliding hammer which can attach to this, and then we can pull it out. Now we're gonna remove the little nuts. What's holding together? It's 4 of them. It's holding the base plate to the rear axle. There's a little lock washer underneath. Gonna make sure that those ones gonna be off as well. In order to get to the whole thing easier, I pulled off the brake shoes and took apart the leaking cylinder. So now I'm just gonna be able to pull the whole thing out. No, it's not coming. Okay, stop. There you go. És most kihúzhat. came out. This side goes into the differential, and then the other side sits in the car, and this is the bearing I wanted to change. Okay, here's the seal inside, and it looks like it's a little bit wet, so it means the seal was leaking a little bit, so most likely the surface is not exactly shiny on it. So I'm gonna have to take that seal out, and then once we take the bearing off, we're probably gonna polish it up a little bit for the seal to have a better seat on it. I took the cylinder off, and now I took these two little bolts off with holding this parking brake cable. I was able to remove the whole thing, so now we can clean the whole plate, and also we can clean everything up here and all the bolts and the inside, and I got the little seal out as well. Working on the other side, I found the source of the World War II bomber sound, and here it is. So that's the bearing failure on this side, so I just need to pull it out. We're going to replace it, and it should be good to go. First we're going to put this attachment on it, so it's going to pull that ring off in the hydraulic press. Use the hydraulic press, and then there's the actuator on the top, and it shows you metric tons, how many metric tons will it push before it's going to release. Now that that ring is off, now we're gonna put this under the bearing, and then we're gonna push it again, but it's not gonna be as dramatic as the bearing, as the other one, because it's actually a loose fit. Now it's just the bearing only. Now you can see we're pressing on the bearing, and it's not the bearing holder, it's just basically getting pressed on. Gonna make sure that cover is not in the way. So we are warming up these rings, and then hopefully we're gonna be able to run over with it, holding a pipe, and then hit it on. Igen, adjál neki. All right, here comes the next one.
Még szerintem nem.
Nem, hallatszol. Now that we got the two drive shafts or half shafts or whatever it is prepared with the new bearings, now I'm gonna remove the drive shaft, and then we're gonna able to take the differential out and then replace it with a new one. The manual recommends to put a little oil in it and then leave it the way it is right now to lubricate the new seal. As I understand, the guy in Germany told me that this part was sitting on a shelf in a Fiat dealership since 1970, waiting for me to purchase it and put it in today. So I don't know how good that seal is, but I'm really scared to open it up and break the that crush ring or crush pipe, because if I take that big nut off, that crush pipe will need to be replaced between the two bearings inside, and then I can change the seal. So I do have the seal, but I think I'm gonna just gamble. So I put a little oil in it from this. It's actually, you can see it's a GL5, and I left it here overnight, so it's going down, and hopefully it will lubricate the seal enough so it's not gonna burn, and I'm hoping that it's not totally frozen. So the whole thing looked very pleasant and very nice, so there's no rust on it. I believe they kept it really well. So what I'm thinking of doing, just putting the little oil in it, left it here to lubricate the seal, and hoping for the best, hoping that it's gonna work out. And if not, then I'm gonna have to find a crush ring, which I couldn't find yet, and I'm gonna change the seal, and then I'm gonna have to put the new crush ring back in. But then I'm gonna have to, oh man, then I'm gonna have to adjust the whole, then I'm gonna have to pull the drive shafts out, and then I'm gonna have to measure it with a torque wrench. How much torque does it take to turn this thing? And then I have to adjust the lock nut on the back. According to the manual, I have to actually see how much force does it take to turn the whole thing, and that's how you can set up those two bearings. Those two bearings, just like in a basically like a front hub, they tapered bearings, and then they have to be squished just enough. If you put it too much, they're gonna break. If you put them not enough, then they're gonna be loose. So that's where I'm at. So hope for the best. We're gonna just put it back together. I also find some new pistons and seals for these, so we're gonna change these, but they were brand new, and I bought it like a couple months ago, and they're leaking already. The factory version is this. This is the original rubber seal, but it's just a simple round piece, and it really doesn't work well because it started leaking just about 2 months after I put that in. So we're gonna go with this kind of seal. That's a new kind of seal, and it goes on that really nicely. And then I have one of these from an Opal or something, which pretty much a perfect fit. So that's what I'm gonna use in this. Hopefully it's not gonna leak anymore. I'm starting with removing the bolts from the rear axle and the drive shaft, and once it's done, it's gonna leak some oil, so I'm gonna have a little pan underneath to catch it. Well, there's absolutely no oil underneath. Next thing I gotta do is to remove those bolts around it to remove the rear differential out of the casing or the housing. I was able to push the drive shaft or the prop shaft on the side. There is no problems there, it's not in the way. I got all the bolts out. I just got to pry it a little bit and hopefully it comes right out. Well, here it is. Came out, didn't hurt me. It's really hard to work under the car like this. I'm missing my jack at home, my lift, but it is what it is. And now I gotta clean it out, clean the surfaces, put the new one on. I cleaned all the surfaces on it, and then now we're ready to install the new one. I got this seal from Mr. Fiat from Atlanta, and it is not the right one. I don't know what it's for. Maybe it's for a spider, or I don't know. But this is not the correct seal, so I'm gonna have to make something up for this. Since this seal is not the proper one, I'm just gonna use the silicone, and then I'm gonna use the ultra copper, and I'm gonna ultra copper it a little bit on this side, a little bit on the other side, and it can go back up. I've cleaned up both surfaces with a little bit of isophotic alcohol, and then now I got some good surface for this ultra copper gasket. It's a seal maker. We're gonna do a very thin layer on this one, a very thin layer on the other side on the rear axle housing, and then we're gonna just push it up there and put the bolts in. Well, it wasn't easy, but it's up. We pushed it up, and then one of us was holding it, the other one put the bolts in, and then first by hand, and then very slowly we tightened them down, cross pattern like, and then now it's all tightened up, ready for the drive shaft. I put it on very nicely, these 4 bolts, but now when I had to put the drive shaft into position, I had to pry it forward. So I think the support bearing housing has to be adjusted in order to accommodate the new position. Here's the drive shaft support. I just need to release those bolts a little bit so it will set into the middle position, and it should be all good after that. Here comes the next step. We're gonna have to install the seal. I got 2 different kind of seals. One is the original type, which I don't really like too much, and then here's the double lip seal. So I'm gonna put a double lip seal in it, and in order not to burn the seal, I'm gonna just put a bunch of grease on it so it will slide better, and then also it will not burn it when the car start running. Well, this side is done. I'm gonna go to the other side and show you each step what I'm done with this side. Kind of learned a few things. Time to put the driver's side together. What I noticed, if I put this O-ring on the bearing, then I will not be able to push it through the brake plate. So I'm gonna put that O-ring on after this bearing actually passed this plate. So now I'm gonna put a bunch of ultra copper on every surface I can imagine, and then first we're gonna push the seal in, and then we're gonna push this whole thing in. This double lap seal is installed already. I got a little bit of ultra copper around it, and then now I'm gonna finish up putting ultra copper here, and then start putting the whole thing together. there are the grooves. These grooves have to go into the differential, and then this will have to sit in the housing. The bearing, the outside bearing case will have to sit in the housing. Now we gotta take this one off, push it through the bearing, then put the bearing O-ring on it, and then we can push the whole thing up on it. I put the rubber O-ring on it, on the bearing. Everything is in position, and now the handbrake cable is there too. Let's push it together. Now we can use this sliding hammer to actually hit the whole thing here and then make it go inside. The bolts are showing through, so I can put the lock washers and nuts on it and pull it together. Now we're finding this hole. We're gonna turn the nuts in. I do one side a little bit and then the opposite side, and just keep going with it until we pull it into position and the whole thing is touching. Now we're gonna install the two little bolts from the back that will hold the handbrake cable to the plate. Now this is on, it's connected, and then we're ready to put the shoes on. Here are the shoes, and there's the one little strong spring, two little extension which will hook into each other, and then that part on the top, and here's the handbrake lever, and here's the handbrake cable which they made. And here are the little accenters. That's how you can adjust the distance between the shoe and the drum. Hopefully it will go together easy, and then we can continue on. I'm done with this too, so now I can lift up the front and we can start bleeding it. I just of course I need to replace, I put back the brake drum. When we were putting on that ring, looks like we kind of hit this part, and there is a little shoulder, so I'm gonna need to use the file to get it down, because I can't put the brake drum on. I kind of use this file for about 30 minutes. So I filed it down, and then now the drum actually fits. So now I'm very pleased with it. So now I can actually put the drum on. Now I can go to the front and change the front brake pads. That's the next one, and then we can bleed it. Well, this is what it came out of. It's not all that particularly bad, but I needed changing. And here's the new one from O'Reilly's. I can't believe it, but I was able to buy it in Kentucky. So I guess because it's probably similar to the 1500 Spider. So anyhow, I'm gonna go back in, and then we can bleed the whole system. I guess these brake pads fit very nicely. So now we're just gonna start bleeding the system. We always start bleeding from the furthest point of the master cylinder. So we're gonna start on the right rear, left rear, front right, front left, and hopefully it will work after that. Well, it was a successful bleeding procedure. No, this is not Pepsi in this. That's what came out of the system, so it was kind of dark. So we actually run it through, so we pumped it until the new oil came through. So now it also has new brake fluid in it. Now the last thing we gotta do is to fill up the transmission, the rear axle with rear axle oil. So we're gonna use this. I don't know what it was, but that's what we're gonna use to fill it up with it. And once we're done with that, we can put it back on the wheels and off we go. We're able to put the oil in the rear axle. Very nicely worked with that syringe. Now we just need to lower the front, lift up the back, pull this jack stand, the makeup jack stand, and then I got to tighten up the lug bolts around the wheels, and then we're good to go. Finally, the car is done. It's about 9 o'clock. So heading back to Budapest, and then I'm gonna try to see if the thing works as I think it did. So now I'm just gonna check the oil and see if the brakes got better and the rear axle doesn't sound like a World War II bomber. So now I drove the car about 3 days, just about 350 kilometers, and there's no leak, there's no shaking, brake works well, and everything works well. So I'm really pleased with the repair what we've done this time. And I kind of thinking maybe the reason why the exhaust fumes were coming in is because this seal was actually loose. This seal was loose all the way up here. So I got the weather stripping glue and I glued it back, hoping that it will fix the issue. But nonetheless, there is this ugly thing on the back, so that already helped. And look at this. This is actually a pillow. It's a pillow that has the 1500 sign on it, and it has the same plate on it like my car. And yeah, it was custom made for me. I love it. I really like this car. Thanks for watching, and I like to say hi to my Italian friends from Italy. See you guys next time. Bye.